start with a legend who broke the mould and gave us the first all-singing audience with Diamonds Are Forever, in the words of DSB.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shirley Bassey.
When I got asked if I would go to watch Shirley Bassey, I was a massive fan. I know that may come as a surprise, but I'm a massive DSB fan, as she's known. So I jumped at the chance.
When you go and see Bassey, there is a buzz, because Shirley's a diva. She is a star, and I love her.
Goldfinger, he's the man with the Midas touch, a spider's touch, such a cold finger.
If there was one word for Shirley Bassey, I'd say powerful. No apologies.
You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. You're sick of
We sat in the second row and I was literally 10 feet away from the singer, and you've never heard a voice like it.
I don't know.
The power of her voice knocks your hat off.
I get all tingly when I hear Shirley started off, "Hey Big Spender."
The minute you walked in the joint, I could see a real big spender. Good looking, so refined. So wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind? So let me get right to here it comes again.
She is a true magnetic performer.
You can't take your eyes off of her.
Hey, big spender!
It was like a tennis match going. Wherever she went, we followed.
A little time with
With a voice that can part the hair of the first 5 rows, as well as send shivers up and down Nicholas Parsons, it was no surprise when she was asked back for an encore a decade later. But there was a shock in store for the producer.
What surprised me the most about working with Shirley Bassey was how petrified she was.
I love you, hate you, love you, hate.
Some of the best talent in the world, the good, really good ones always do get nervous.
My husband went on tour with her back in the early 70s, and he said before she goes on stage, she's bricking it. She's absolutely terrified.
I never want to be with anyone.
2 hours before we were due to go into the studio, she called me over and she said, "Glenn, I can't remember a word. I can't do this. I'm not going to do it." So I sat there and I thought, what do you say to a lady who's been performing for 5 decades, who, people adore, and she's saying that she can't go out and do this show?
Me and Pauline Quirk went to that one, and we knew one of the producers, and he came out and told us that there was a bit of a problem, that Shirley was refusing to come out.
It's extraordinary. She's nervous. She is like a little girl, worried and anxious.
So I just took a deep breath and I paused and said, right, Dame Shirley, I'm going to go and tell everybody to go home. That's it, it's off, show's off. Headed to the door, she went, "Glenn, come back. We're still on."
And as soon as you play the big fanfare of Goldfinger, she becomes the Dame, and the Dame walks on stage. Brilliant.
And that kind of endears me to her, because it's almost like no matter how big you are, you still get scared, and on an audience with, that must be the most terrifying audience possible.
This is the spot where you get to ask me anything you want. I mean, make it as personal as you want. I don't care. Go on. Let me have it. Give it to me.
Shirley Bassey said, "I've never, ever done a show with such a packed lot of celebrities," and she looked really nervous.
Miss Bassey. Oh, Miss Bassey. I knew it was going to be a woman first.
It took her out of the comfort zone of just belting out one song after another, and it really did show a side of her that maybe people had never seen. And it was to her advantage because it was a particularly attractive side. She's got a really delightful personality, and it was able to flourish in the format of an audience with.
Dame Shirley, it's an honour, I'm sure, for everybody here to be sat so close to you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you've sang with some of the biggest names in music, and I was wondering if you've ever been starstruck yourself.
Oh, God, yes. Elvis Presley.
I remember just thinking of that my mum and dad would be sat at home just watching me ask Dame Shirley Bassey a question, and I was beside myself, delighted.
Now, we all know diamonds are supposed to be forever, but someone forgot to tell Shirley's bling.
The thing that most people remember about that show was the moment where her earring fell off.
The earring decided to have a life of its own and fell off halfway through.
And I was like, oh my God, we better stop this. The continuity is going to be terrible.
Oh, no. I lost the bling.
And I think actually in the rushes you can see me running back up onto the stage and pushing it back onto her ear.
Ow. Oh, that hurt.
It was obviously the clip, was something wrong with the clip. But we couldn't really do anything to it. Super glue and sellotape were not an option because we'd borrowed this jewellery to go with the gown we'd had designed for her. And the jewellery alone was insured for nearly £400,000.
If there'd have been 99p, they probably would have clipped better. So we started again, she composed herself. Again, getting to the high bit, shaking her arms, earring came off.
And I'll never leave. Why should I leave? I'd be a fool.
And I think 3 times the earring fell off.
You gave me strength to stand alone again.
At the end of the song, thunderous applause, and I was looking at my producer, thinking what we're going to do. And we heard this laughter, looked up, and she just dipped down very elegantly onto the studio floor, picked it up, and came out with this fantastic line, which saved the day, and it saved the number.
And it still bloody came off.
I know that her manager called the jeweller afterwards to absolutely tear him off a strip about the fact that they didn't have proper fixtures behind them.
He was lucky he didn't have Dame Shirley shouting down the phone with a pair of lungs like that.
Need no excuses.
But bling or no bling, this was a night in a million and one the audience will never forget.
She's so wonderful and she's so perfect. And yet she's, you know, she's a lovely lady as well, and sometimes they don't go hand in hand, so I just love her.
I've still kept the lilac ticket. I have a box of things, of really special things that I keep that are memories, and the ticket from that is in it.
There will never, ever be another Shirley Bassey. Ever.
Still to